Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Survivor Talks with Mike. We just finished our coverage of Season 3 of Survivor Africa, so now it's time to go back and do a full season review. For the purposes of this review, I will be breaking it down into 5 portions. First, we'll cover the pre-merge and the post-merge sections of the season, then the production, followed by the twist or new gameplay elements added this season, and lastly, the cast. After giving a score for each of these elements, we'll tally the score and come up with an overall review. Starting with the pre-merge, in this segment, we will be using my episode reviews from the episodes up to the point of the merge. We'll also be talking about how the pre-merge affected the later game, and if the time was spent in the pre-merge focusing on the right player. The pre-merge of Survivor Africa sets up the alliances and dynamics of the two tribes, and then changes them all up by giving us the first ever tribe swap, which is the highlight of the pre-merge. The episodes make a strong point of showing how well the Boran tribe has bonded, giving us lots of reason to understand why some of them will not turn against the others. In contrast to that, they show us how divided the Samburu tribe is, and so it is no surprise that when the swap occurs, Teresa and Frank turn on side. So for my episode reviews, I gave episode 1 an 8 out of 10, episode 2 an 8 out of 10, episode 3 an 8 out of 10, episode 4 an 8.5 out of 10, episode 5 a 10 out of 10, and episode 6 an 8 out of 10. The average comes to an 8.42, and so I decided to round that up to an 8.5, because while it has the high of the swap episode, it also is just a consistent pre. So the pre-merge gets a score of 8.5 out of 10. On to the post. This segment will be much the same as the pre-merge segment, only instead we will be looking at the episodes from the post-merge. We'll be looking at who the winner is and how well their journey through the post-merge portion of the game was told. Whether you like this season's post-merge or not likely depends on just how much you like spending time with this cast, whether that's at camp or on the extravagant rewards they attend. Strategically, there is also some pretty interesting moves early in the merge. Kelly swaps to the Samburu side, but Lex is able to wrangle in Brandon to keep the numbers against her. That is then followed up by Tom and Ethan going to the Samburu side to take out Brandon. From that point on, the Borans just use their numbers advantage to control the boot order the rest of the way. The highlights of this post-merge are Lex's witch hunt, the Ethan goat reward, Brandon and Frank's date night, Lex and Tom's African safari, and of course Ethan in the end being a very likable winner. So my episode reviews for the post-merge were episode 7 an 8 out of 10. Episode 8 was the recap, so I won't give that one a score. Episode 9 was a 10 out of 10. Episode 10 was a 9 out of 10. Episode 11 was an 8 out of 10. Episode 12 was a 9 out of 10. Episode 13 was a 7 out of 10. And then the finale was a 9 out of 10. This is an 8.5 out of 10 average, which again I think just remarks on the overall consistency of this season. It doesn't have as many highs, but it never reaches the lows of the previous season. Post-merge gets a score of 8.5 out of 10. On to the production. Production segment is where I will be talking about the filmmaking portions of the season and the quality of the show that is put in front of it. This will handle editing, locations, and shots. The production value continues to improve as this season gets even better with the quality of the product put to screen. Firstly, the location in Kenya is one of, if not the most unique place Survivor has ever filmed. This gave us the most real sense of danger with the constant threat of lions and other wild animals nearby. The castaways also clearly suffered a little from lack of food and clean water, which I would say is a bit of a drawback as the players became pretty weak and lethargic by the end. This location also led to some of the most unique rewards in the show's history, which was really cool to see some of the culture of Kenya and the Samburu people. One other place the production shined in was the music of this season, incorporating a lot of African instruments and vocals, which I think is a massive improvement on the previous season's overuse of techno. The downsides for production are that we are still in standard definition here, and with the locations being very brown, it makes it not very interesting to look at from time to time. So I give the production a score of 7 out of 10. On to the twist and new element. In this section, we'll discuss the new twist and advantages that were in this season, and if they had a positive or negative effect on the game. This season is the first to have the tribe swap, and with it being completely new, it caught the players entirely off guard. I think it worked really well to the tribes to make them better acquainted before the merge, and it may have been what caused the unique boot order at the start of the merge. This might be the best way the tribe swap has ever been done, though I don't know if they could ever manage to pull it off this way again, but for in this season alone, it works perfect. I give this twist a score of 10 out of 10. Onto the cast. This is what I would generally say is the most important part of any Survivor season. I break down the cast into 5 categories: great, good, okay, dud, or get them off my screen. Get them off my screen is reserved for players who offended me as a viewer, and in general, I don't want to watch them. Duds aren't bad people. They just didn't pop on screen or do anything to really affect the game. Okay has players who either didn't last long enough to make an impact either way, or at the very least didn't take away from the experience of watching. Good are the standard for what I want the players to be. Great go above and beyond to make me want to see them play again and again. Survivor Africa has an incredible cast, and it needed to in order to carry us through what could have otherwise been some pretty boring parts of the season. It's a shame only 3 of these players have played again, and I could easily see 3 to 5 more of them playing once again. Every player that makes the final 12, I would say, is at least good, and we even have some greats like Ethan, Lex, Tom, Teresa, Brandon, Frank, Kelly, and Clarence. Silas and Lindsay make for good pre-merge villains, and even Diane was a decent first boot. A couple in between I would consider as duds, however, like Jesse and Carl. I give the cast a score of 9 out of 10. So on to my overall review for this season. This season I know I seem to like way more than most people do, but I just think that this cast is great, and I enjoy watching them just having fun together. Like Lex and Ethan going into town and bartering goats, or Tom getting wasted on a reward with Lex. Despite all the danger and lack of food, it's really just a fun season. So I give this season a score of 8.6 out of 10. This is now the highest rated season I've ever reviewed, and it won't be easy to beat that. But as I said, this is one of my personal favorite seasons, and even though I try to weigh both the good and the bad of each episode, I can't help but see more of the good in this season. That's all for this one. Thank you for watching. I've got something special planned for next week's video, so hit subscribe if you want to catch that, and if you like this video, hit like.